gosh, I love it.
50,000 plus in Atlanta over the weekend to watch the United States beat Japan in the SheBelieves Cup semifinal. Our Allie Krieger was one of those 50,000 plus. Allie, you got to tell us all about this atmosphere. It looked crazy on TV.
Yeah, it was incredible. Even just connecting with the fans and supporters and talking to them and recognizing how excited they were that football was back in Atlanta, especially with the U.S. Women's National Team, and the atmosphere was really great and rocking, and obviously after the first goal, it needed to pick up a little bit for the U.S. to get back on its feet, but other than that, it was a really great atmosphere for the U.S. Women's National Team. Big picture, Allie, what are your biggest takeaway or takeaways maybe from the victory there over Japan? I think that their mentality to stay in the game and to not get down, obviously, right at the beginning, because it's really difficult for a team. Once you get scored on, you can see a goal early on, especially in the first 30 seconds to a minute of a game, your mentality can kind of shift a little bit. And fortunately, from that moment on, the United States obviously dominated the rest of the game. They were able to get into the attack. They created so many chances. Now it's just focusing on how they can tidy up those chances and really score more. Because I think, obviously, the chances that they created and the amount of goals that they scored, it just wasn't good enough on the day. But what was great coming out of this game was the impact that the players had coming in, and obviously just the tenacity and the willingness and want to get into the attack and really create opportunities, which we saw from that first minute goal moving forward right up until the end. So the attitude was always there, and they ended up winning and coming back and getting themselves into the final. Allie, my big takeaway here has to be the style. I mean, it is a high-risk, high-reward style that the United States is playing. They play a high line defensively, but they're very aggressive in the press. And we saw them give Japan, and Allie, you know this, technically there are few teams better in the world than Japan, but that U.S. press created all sorts of issues for the Japanese. I just wonder, Allie, if in a tournament, the high-risk part of that equation might come back to burn the United States when you start to go up against the very best teams in the world. That's kind of what I saw from a team perspective. Individually, I think we got to highlight Jaden Shaw, who not only gets the goal, but Allie was playing a little bit different role than we're accustomed to seeing her play. Usually with the U.S., it's been out on the wing. Here in this game, it was more central, and it sure seemed to work, didn't it? Right, it absolutely did. And you could see that, her versatility is really going to be key moving into this decision of, who the coaches want to bring for the 18-man roster. I really believe that because she's so versatile, she's so dynamic, she plays as, even on the wing, an inverted winger, so to speak. And so that 10 role, I don't think is too foreign to her. I think that she really made a name for herself in that 10 spot this past weekend. And I think just seeing the confidence that she has and obviously just taking that opportunity, no matter where she is on the field, to really prove herself. I think it's been brilliant. I think it's so inspiring to see for all these young players, having this dream of playing with the national team and getting an opportunity and then doing well with it and then continuing to see her in the squad. I think she's just done such a great job for herself. And, now she's somewhat of a mainstay. She's probably one of the top players on the list for the game days for the coaching staff to decide. And she's just done brilliant. She scored 5 goals in her first 5, opportunities with the national team play. And it's just nice to see a player like that who has really earned her spot in this squad moving forward. Yeah, a goal in each of her first 5 starts, the first player ever in the long history of the U.S. Women's National Team to do that. So it tells you a little bit about kind of where Jaden Shaw is right now. And let's remind everybody, she's just 19 years old, Allie. The other player that I think stood out in this game is Mallory Swanson. We've been waiting a long time. And it's not just that she played and she came back, but she looked like the Mallory Swanson of old. And I think that's probably the most important takeaway from this past weekend. Absolutely. And I even wrote her saying how proud I was of her her we definitely missed her as a player. You have a player who is one of the best dribblers in the game. Her vision, her willingness to want to get into the attack and create things. She wants to be a part of every opportunity. She's just very dangerous. She's lethal. She's very difficult to defend. I can attest to that. and she doesn't look like she's even lost pace. I mean, coming back from this injury, obviously you focus a little bit more on the stability exercises and in your recovery to get back to this, this ability to perform at this level. And I think her focus on that really is, proven well. And she's just has come back like she's never left. And I'm so happy to see her back with the squad because she just creates this spark and this impact that, I think we've been missing for the past year.
Allie, help me out here. Give us some context on this rivalry. Is Canada the U.S. women's national team's biggest rival right now?
I think so, yes. I do believe they have gotten better in the past few years. They've obviously proved themselves this year. And in the Gold Cup, we all saw how many goals that they scored and the way that they were playing and performing and the style and the mentality, I think, has what separated us over the years. But now you see a Canadian team that has a willingness to want to win, and they are using their firepower, especially in the front six. I feel like with Leon and also having Desiree Scott and Janine Becky back in the squad, I think is going to be even more powerful and really difficult to break down. I think, not having Sinclair in the squad, yes. Is that a bit of a detriment? Okay, but you do have players now wanting to fill that hole. And I think they're playing a little bit different. Now every play doesn't have to go through her. So they're using their front six, I think, in a more dynamic way. And they're also sharing the ball more. They're also setting each other up for success more often than I think we've seen, when Sinclair has been on the field, and that's just been their focus. How can we get her the ball? How can she score goals? How can we get her in and around the 18 in order to create, things happening? And now you have other players who are able to step up and do that. You have a lot of players playing in the league, especially Leon, who's playing for Aston Villa. I think she's done really well overseas. So they're kind of having that confidence, I think, within the squad now. And their mentality is obviously gotten better and is somewhat matching ours. You have 10 players who are playing in the NWSL, so they're getting that, aggressive, athletic style of play. And it's really impressed me over the past, 6 months, the way that they've been playing. Their PKs, obviously, in the Gold Cup weren't great, but now against Brazil, they figured it out. They stepped up and they got the job done. Luckily, they scored in the 77th minute, which got them to the final.
Allie, there's a saying that a team that wins repeats. Obviously, it's a different matchup, Japan compared to Canada. From a U.S. perspective, do you think the Americans should maybe make any changes to the starting lineup for this SheBelieves Cup final Tuesday night?
Well, I think, obviously, I think the world of Alex Morgan. I think her leadership is, obviously separates herself from a lot of the other players in the attacking six. But I do feel like Sofia really impressed me this weekend, coming in and making an impact. And I know she's been hungry and really working hard to get back into the starting 11 because she was somewhat of a mainstay, during World Cup and the lead up to World Cup, where Vlatko really had her starting every single game, and deservingly so. Obviously, she can play on the wing. She came in for Trinity Rodman here in this game, but I do feel like I want to see Trinity, I want to see Sofia, and I want to see Mal as like a lethal three. Maybe give Alex, a rest in this, and really see if Sofia can kind of get back to that form that we've seen in the past, couple years. And her performances with club have really impressed me too. And I think that has earned her a position and able to, perform and start on Tuesday.
Swanson, Rodman, and Smith. That's the front three you're suggesting. Is that right, Allie?
And as a defender myself, I don't know if I'd really want to go up against that every day.
I'm telling you, the defenders for Canada, they might want to get ready for some backpedaling practice, because against those burners, if that's a starting three, look out. There she is, Allie Krieger. As always, great to have you with us here on Futbol Americas. Thanks so much for the time.